President Trump has taken a hard line with Russia. He's been working to broker peace with Ukraine, but he is growing frustrated with President Vladimir Putin.
I'm not so interested in talking anymore. He talks, we have such nice conversations, such respectful and nice conversations, and then people die the following night with a missile going into a town. Russia could be so rich right now. Instead, they spend all their money on war. They spend everything on war and killing people, and it doesn't make sense to me.
Former Russian President Dmitry Medvedev responded, each new ultimatum is a threat and a step toward war, not between Russia and Ukraine, but with his own country. Don't go down the Sleepy Joe road. That's what he wrote. Tammy Bruce, State Department spokesperson now, is live with us from Washington, D.C. Good to see you. Look, talk about those words in judgment. I'm curious to get the reaction from the State Department.
Well, obviously, we know where President Trump stands. He's been very patient. He's made a commitment to diplomacy. We've seen that over and over again. And he's transparent when it comes to his thoughts in the moment, as we've seen. He's not happy, has not been happy with Putin for quite some time. He's made it clear what the problem is. And we've got a lot of tools in our tool chest. Certainly the president does. I think that what President Trump isn't bothered by is bluster or posts on a social media account. This is serious business. There's carnage. Innocent people are dying every day. And clearly, I think Russia understands that when President Trump says something, he's serious, and they need to take him seriously.
Look, Tammy, I have to ask about what's going on with our allies in Europe, though, because at last check, they were still buying Russian oil. And I don't know how you convince them not to do that. The president had a lot of success with that EU trade deal on his trip to Scotland. But that connective tissue complicates matters.
Well, all of the world knows what's going on. Europe certainly has not been happy with what Russia's been doing with Ukraine. We are an interconnected world, of course, with information as well. The president, I'm not going to get ahead of the decisions that he can make or the options he has. But the sanctions have never been removed from Russia. There's more options that the president has economically and otherwise. We've seen that. We've seen his options in general. So he's going to make sure people know where he stands. But we also know that what he decides to do about a country that is causing such death and destruction is, and I think we're going to see some of those actions. He shortened the timeline that they had to respond. Originally, it was 50 days. He mentioned while in Scotland that it's probably going to be now 10 to 12 days because he said he pretty much knows what the situation is. Yeah.
And with regard to oil, the president has put our country in a place where, we could be selling other people our oil at this point. We're going to become more under his watch. Saw it live. President Trump leaving his newly opened golf course in Scotland, headed back home to the U.S. after some big news-making meetings. And he scored that massive trade deal I mentioned with the EU. And he says China is next. Let's watch.
China's tough. And like you're tough, we're all tough, yes. But we're going to see what happens. These are, look, they're smart people, they're tough negotiators. They know what they want. And but we're going to be setting a tariff for essentially the rest of the world. And that's what they're going to pay if they want to do business in the United States.
And of course, it doesn't come without some critics, of course. A headline from the Wall Street Journal's opinion page reads this way: if Trump's tariffs are so bad, where is the recession? Look, I've heard Democrat after Democrat now on this program, Tammy, talking about the fact that, okay, so the tariffs are actually working. And they don't even put on the end of it anymore.
Yeah, well, look, we saw what President Trump was capable of in his first term. That there was doom and gloom then, and the sky was going to fall then. He created the best economy in human history. This is a man who knows what he's doing. And it's just a matter of the time. And in addition to, this is about tariffs and ceasefires. We had a conflict between Thailand and Cambodia. They both wanted, though, to continue with trade talks. And the president said, I'm not going to talk to you about tariffs and trade until you stop the fighting. And guess what we have now, Harris? A ceasefire. So, look, this is America, through Donald Trump, reasserting itself as the power of the world. fairness for America. America first is best for the world. We've seen that kind of leadership. Economically, it is a boom for the United States, but also it is a mechanism with which the president has to keep people from fighting, to stop carnage, and he knows what he's doing. And Americans are once again reaping the benefits.
You know, knitting those two things together, and I wrote that down, this is about tariffs and ceasefires, I think is particularly helpful for the American people to really understand. I want to give you one more last word about that.
Well, look, the president has an overall view of what is important for this country. He's articulated that. Every decision he makes is based in what's going to work. That is the benefit of having the best deal maker as president, but also a humanitarian who wants to see the death and destruction end, whether it is the Gaza Strip, or if it's Cambodia and Thailand, or if it's Russia and Ukraine. He will not stop. We have his back. We know that this is what's best for humanity. He and Mrs. Trump are making the biggest difference again, and it's only been 6 months. We've got an incredible time coming up, and I'm excited to be a part of it, and the American people are the beneficiaries.
Spokesperson for the State Department, Tammy Bruce, always great to have you in focus. Thank you.
Thank you, man.